So it should have been a really big day at the Tory party conference because we had the Health Secretary, Sajid Javid. He'd done an interview overnight with The Guardian and giving his big conference speech. And after all, health has been a very dominant issue, not just through COVID, but as we come out of it and as we see massive 5.5 million backlogs in operations on the National Health Service. And we'll talk a little bit tonight. Did he say anything that really inspired you to believe things will improve? And from the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, talking in general terms about immigration. And one of the big themes of this conference is that lower numbers coming into Britain mean higher wages. Well, yeah, we understand that. But in particular, we'll analyse her response to the over 17,000 people that have crossed the English Channel by boat this year. Did she say anything today that will make any difference? And I'm afraid I think the answer is no, because what they've done with this conference, this is now the Boris Johnson show. He is completely and utterly in charge. And indeed, despite those two big speeches today, who was it dominating the airwaves this morning and at lunchtime and all the way through the day? It was the Prime Minister, even though his speech is tomorrow. And part of that, of course, was a GBNews interview with Darren McCaffrey, and we'll talk to him tonight as well. And interestingly, the auditorium for the speeches in the conference hall is tiny, even for these big cabinet ministers, yet when Boris goes on tomorrow, they'll open it all up to be a really big audience. So it is very much the cult of personality. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, necessarily, but it is the cult of personality. They clearly believe that Boris is a winner, and he has proved in many ways electorally to be a winner. But what is he going to say tomorrow? Well, he'll tell us, of course, that we're going to have completely clean energy by 2035, something that I think is wholly unrealistic. And I've no doubt he will bang on about Build Back Better. I mean, just rather like Joe Biden does in America. And we'll hear this constant phrase of levelling up, which I'm not sure I even understand what it is. What do I expect to hear from Boris Johnson tomorrow? Nothing of any particular surprise. And I still very much stick with what I had to say to you last night, that out there in the country, we've got millions of families worried about their relations getting operations, concerned they can't get GP health checks, struggling still in parts of the country to get enough fuel, a crisis at our borders, not just those coming into Dover, but those returning from business trips or holidays into our airports and facing massive queues, inflation running ahead very quickly, shades, I think, perhaps of the 1970s in many ways. And yet, from Boris Johnson, it really is. Crisis, what crisis? Everything is absolutely splendid.